Io. What if I told you? The part of Lil Baby's recent arrest that got buried ain't just some small detail, might be the real reason everything popped off in the first place. While the headlines got everybody focused on the charges and them blurry TMZ parking lot clips, nobody's talking about what went down behind the scenes. I'm talking screaming matches, a mystery woman, and a hidden betrayal that's got his whole inner circle looking funny in the light. And yeah, it's deeper than rap. This ain't just another rapper gets arrested story. This one got whispers of family secrets, industry beef, and a wild studio break-in just hours before the cuffs came out. Fans think they know the story, but trust me what y'all seen online. That's just the trailer. Sources close to Baby's team told us there was a private altercation right before the cops arrived. Someone in the crew flipped. Someone leaked something, and there's even talk that an ex showed up with receipts that shook the room. Stay locked in, cause this right here. This is the part of Lil Baby's arrest that nobody's talking about. So here's where things start to spiral. The night Lil Baby got arrested, fans only saw him getting pulled over. The flashing lights and those viral videos showing him being placed in the back of that blacked-out SUV. But what nobody saw was what happened hours before. Behind closed doors, when the tension in his camp was already reaching a boiling point. Insiders say it didn't start with the cops. It started with trust issues. And it started with a name that's been floating in the background of Baby's circle for months, Kayla. Now, if you've been following Lil Baby's journey closely, you've probably heard whispers about Kayla. Not a celebrity, not a rapper. Just a regular girl from Atlanta who somehow found herself right in the middle of one of the hottest camps in hip-hop. They said she was just a friend. But the way people were moving around her, it wasn't giving just a friend. And that night, Kayla pulled up to the studio uninvited, according to two people who were there who asked to stay anonymous. Kayla walked into the studio while Baby was recording a feature for a major artist. She wasn't on the list, wasn't cleared by security, but somehow she got through. And the moment she stepped in, the vibe shifted completely. Baby stopped the track mid-bar. His voice, reportedly calm at first, got low and sharp. "Who told you to come here?" is what he allegedly said. And Kayla, she ain't flinch. She just pulled her phone out of her purse and handed it to him. That's when everything went quiet. They say Baby looked at the screen and his whole energy changed. His face dropped. People in the room described it as the moment everything went left. They ain't say what was on that phone, but whatever it was, it shook him. His longtime homie Ree, who's been with him since before the fame, said in a private group chat later that night, "I ain't never seen him freeze like that. Like he saw a ghost." Now, here's where it gets wild. Right after that, Baby allegedly stormed out the booth and went into one of the side rooms. Kayla followed him. The door closed. People in the studio said all they heard was yelling. Baby was accusing somebody of setting him up. Not Kayla, but someone close to him. Someone he trusted. Some folks say he even dropped a name, Tone. And that name? That's where the plot thickens. Tone's been around Baby for years. Part of the early crew. Helped out with management, made plays behind the scenes, even took charges for Baby back in the day. But recently, he's been moving. Different. Baby's other folks said Tone been hanging around industry people too much, acting like he more important than he is. And that night, turns out Tone was the one who let Kayla into the studio. "I ain't think it was gone, be a big deal," Tone told someone later that night, trying to play it off. But Baby didn't see it that way. When he and Kayla came out that room, it was straight chaos. Baby walked up to Tone and, without saying a word, swung on him. Straight right hook. Caught him in the jaw. The room went silent. Somebody tried to break it up, But Baby was heated, yelling about betrayal, leaks, and you knew what you was doing. Tone ain't fight back. He just wiped his mouth and walked out, and that should have been the end of it. But at WASN single quotes about 15 minutes later, while everyone was still trying to figure out what just happened, security came back and said the cops were outside. Somebody had called them. No one knows for sure who, but here's where the theory starts forming. Some believe Tone made that call, not from his number, of course, but through someone else. Maybe as payback, maybe as a warning. The cops came in aggressive, said they had probable cause to search the area, claimed they had a tip about weapons on the premises. Fans assumed it was a random stop, but this was targeted. The way they came in, the timing, the questions they asked wasn't random, and Baby knew it. That's why he ain't even argue when they cuffed him. He just looked at Tone's empty seat and shook his head. And remember Kayla? She was nowhere to be found by then. Some say she dipped right after the yelling. Others say she was never really there for Baby. She was there to deliver that phone. And whoever sent her. They knew exactly what they were doing. Meanwhile, word spread fast. Videos of Baby getting cuffed went viral within minutes. The blogs ran with it. Fans started speculating. Some blamed his label. Others blamed jealousy from the inside. But back in Atlanta, the camp was in full panic mode. Baby's older cousin, who usually stays quiet and handles the business side of things, was reportedly calling every lawyer in his contacts. Reese, one of his producers, tweeted damned, then deleted snakes in the circle. This ain't gone end well. What most people didn't know, though, is that Baby wasn't just worried about himself. The arrest could have exposed way more than just a simple weapons charge. Because, according to sources, there was something in that studio that night, something in the safe that wasn't supposed to be there. And Baby knew if the cops found it, things would go from bad to catastrophic. Luckily, they didn't. Or maybe they were never meant to. Maybe this was never about finding something. Maybe it was just a warning shot, a message. And Baby got it loud and clear. But what came after the arrest? That's where things really started falling apart, as Baby was being booked and processed. Fans were already flooding social media. Hashtags like #FreeBaby and #They Set Up Baby were trending. Even some celebs started speaking out, but nobody had the full picture, except the ones who were there. And they were staying silent. To silent, meanwhile, Tone went radio silent too. Deleted his socials, turned his phone off, dipped out of town, according to a few mutuals. And that only made the rumors grow. People started asking, was Tone working with someone? Was he paid to set Baby up? Or was he just mad about being cut out of the loop? And then, out of nowhere, Kayla posted a cryptic story. A black screen. White text. It said, he knew what it was when he saw it. I just delivered the message. Kayla's story didn't just stir the pot, flipped the whole table. That one line, he knew what it was when he saw it. I just delivered the message, had fans, blogs, and even Baby's closest friends scrambling. What was the message? Who sent it? And most importantly, what did Lil Baby see on that phone? Within hours, Twitter was a frenzy. Screenshots from old Kayla posts resurfaced, showing her with familiar faces from the industry. People zoomed in, speculated, did side-by-side comparisons. One face in particular stood out, an R-rep from a rival label. Someone Baby had beefed with years ago over a snatched artist contract. And guess who that A&R used to date? Kayla. So now it's starting to look less like coincidence and more like strategy. Meanwhile, Baby's team was doing damage control. They were trying to keep everything quiet, but the pressure inside the circle was building fast. Arguments broke out in group chats. One of Baby's engineers left the crew entirely. Said in a private DM that got leaked, "It's too messy. Too many egos. Too much lying." But the biggest shock? It didn't come from Tone. It didn't come from Kayla. It came from Baby's own cousin, DRE. DRE had always stayed in the shadows, handled business, kept things clean. But 2 days after the arrest, Dre posted something on his close friend's story that got screen recorded before he could delete it. It was a video, dark, grainy, but clear enough. It showed Baby and Tone, months ago, in a room with stacks of cash, phones laid out, and a whiteboard in the back with names and numbers. DRE captioned it, "This ain't new. Y'all just late." And the internet exploded. Y'all just late. And the internet exploded. What was the meeting about? What were the names? And why was Dre leaking this now? Turns out, Dre had been feeling pushed out for months. Sources said Baby started keeping him out of key meetings, sidelining him for younger, flashier industry folks. Dre felt like he helped build the empire, and now he was being treated like an outsider. The arrest and the betrayal surrounding it was his breaking point, a close friend of Dre's told us. He ain't do it out of spite. He did it 'cause he tired of the lies. Tired of protecting people who wouldn't protect him. So now, with Tone gone ghost, Kayla dropping cryptic messages, and Dre pulling back the curtain, Baby found himself in the middle of a storm he couldn't control. While all this was playing out online, Baby was back home, out on bail, but keeping a low profile. No public statements, no new posts, no music drops. Just silence. But that silence, it was loud. 2 loud rumors started circulating that Baby was planning to cut off half his team. One source said there was a purge list being passed around. If your name was on it, you were out and no questions. No goodbyes, and that's when the second betrayal hit. A screenshot leaked from someone inside the group chat, one of Baby's day ones. It showed a private convo between Baby and another major artist. The artist, who we won't name yet, was asking about the arrest. Baby replied, "It's crazy out here. Snakes everywhere, even family." And that last line, that was about Dre. Now remember, Dre already felt pushed out, already hurt. But seeing Baby call him the snake, that's when he really snapped. A day later, Dre went live. Not on Instagram, not on Facebook. Dre chose TikTok. Why? Because he knew that's where the fans would really listen. In the video, Dre sat in a dimly lit room, hoodie on, voice calm but shaking with emotion. "I ain't wanna do this," he said, eyes locked on the camera. But when you let people play with your name and then try to make you the villain? Nah, I'm not letting that slide. Then he dropped the bomb. DRE claimed the night of the arrest wasn't the first time. Someone tried to take Baby down from the inside. He said there was a similar situation months ago in Miami. Different players, same setup. And back then, it was Tone who covered it up. He swept it under the rug 'cause he didn't want the bag to stop, Dre said. But I told them all this ain't loyalty. This is survival. He also confirmed that the contents of Kayla's phone were screenshots and voice notes. Evidence, and one of the voice notes allegedly had Baby saying things that could not only ruin deals, but potentially open federal investigations. Now, of course, Baby's legal team denied all of it. Put out a vague statement saying unauthorized content and false narratives were being spread. But fans weren't buying it. They wanted answers. And some of them were starting to believe Dre over Baby. And just when it couldn't get any messier, here comes Kayla again. This time, she went live too. But her version of the story was even messier. "I didn't trap him," she said. "I didn't set him up. I warned him. But he ain't listen. He never listens." And then she said the name no one expected to hear. "Ask him about Ariana." Now, If you're a real fan, you know who Ariana is. She's the mother of baby's first son. They've had a rocky relationship, mostly private, but always loyal. Or so people thought. Kayla didn't explain. She just dropped the name, smirked, and ended the live. And the internet went into full meltdown mode. Was Ariana involved? Did she know something? Did she send Kayla? Was this all tied to a deeper family beef? Fans started pulling up old pictures, old tweets, anything they could find. And sure enough, people found an old group shot from 2022 baby, Ariana, Kayla, and Tone, all at the same party. So now the theory was this: what if this was all internal? What if this wasn't about labels or rivals, but about family? And if Ariana was involved, what would that mean for baby's custody, his brand, and his public image? It was too much, too fast, and baby still silent. His last post was a throwback photo with the caption, "Trust is earned, not given." Posted 2 days before the arrest. The timing. Chilling so after Kayla name dropped Ariana on live and dipped without context, fans were in detective mode. Twitter was flooded with old posts, blurry party pics, and theories so wild you'd think it was a scripted show. One post in particular started gaining traction. It was a throwback from 2021. A now-deleted IG story reposted by a gossip page. It showed Kayla and Ariana at a spa together. Same robes, same backdrop, smiling, real close. Up until now, nobody even knew they knew each other like that. So the question was, how deep did this connection go? And was this some personal vendetta disguised as a legal takedown? But while everybody was focused on Ariana, somebody else was quietly watching the chaos unfold. Someone who hadn't spoken on the situation yet. Someone who used to be part of the inner circle before everything went left. Her name, Jayla. If you don't remember Jayla, let's rewind real quick. She was briefly linked to Lil Baby back in 2020. Stylist turned brand manager. Never officially his girl, but close enough to the crew that she had keys to the tour bus and codes to the Airbnb. When they stopped messing around, she kinda disappeared, unfollowed everybody. Deleted pics. Folks assumed she just moved on, but no. She had receipts, and now? She was ready to speak, late one night. She dropped a 30-minute YouTube video titled, "I Stayed Quiet, but Y'all Playing With My Name Now." The thumbnail. A blurry screenshot of Kayla and Tone standing outside a car lot looked like a cash handoff. Within minutes, it was trending. Jayl started the video with no makeup, hoodie on, sitting in what looked like a low-budget studio. She didn't look angry. She looked tired, drained, like someone who had been holding too much for too long. "I ain't here to chase clout," she began. "But y'all got my name in group chats accusing me of leaking stuff. Saying I'm jealous 'cause baby never claimed. Me? Nah. I'm speaking now 'cause y'all left out the part that actually matters." Then she dropped the first bomb. Jayla said she was the one who introduced Kayla to the crew in the first place. She met Kayla at a hair appointment in 2019. They became cool, started hanging out. And Jayla brought her around baby's people because Kayla seemed solid. But according to Jayla, things got weird real fast. Kayla was always asking questions, she said. Asking about who made what, who baby trusted, who handled the money. At first, I thought she was just curious. Now, I see what it was. But it didn't stop there. Jayla said in late 2021, she walked in on a phone conversation between Kayla and Tone. An argument. Kayla was accusing Tone of not holding up his end of the deal. She was saying stuff like, "He's not gonna fall for it if you keep switching up." Jayla said she didn't understand it back then. But after what just happened, it all made sense. And then, the second bomb, Jayla said there was a contract. Not a legal one, but a deal made in secret. Tone and Kayla were allegedly paid by a third party, possibly a rival manager, or even someone tied to law enforcement to plant evidence and stir internal drama. Their goal: destabilize Lil Baby's camp from the inside. Make him paranoid. Make him vulnerable. "I saw the money change hands," Jayla said. And the craziest part? I think Kayla liked him for real. I think somewhere in that mess, she caught feelings. And that's what messed everything up. The final part of Jayla's video. A voice note. Recorded secretly during a phone call between her and Kayla just 2 weeks before the arrest. In the recording, Kayla can be heard saying, "He's gonna see the messages and think it's all Ariana." That's the plan. Confusion, divide and conquer. Fans lost it. And conquer. Fans lost it. So now, the narrative flipped again. It wasn't Ariana. It wasn't Dre. It wasn't even just Tone. This was a coordinated play, and Baby had no idea it was coming. All he saw was his circle falling apart in real time, with no idea who to trust. Meanwhile, someone else decided to enter the chat. And this time, it was a voice fans hadn't heard in years: Baby's older brother. Marcus. Marcus never wanted the spotlight. Always stayed behind the scenes, did his time, came home, and kept to himself. But when Jayla's video hit 1 million views in 2 days, Marcus posted a voice note on SoundCloud. Yes, SoundCloud. 5 minutes long. No beat. Just him talking. "I've been telling bro for years, everybody around you ain't with you," he said. "You can't buy loyalty. You can't rent trust. Sometimes the closest ones just waiting on the moment to cut you deepest." He didn't name names. Didn't talk about the arrest. But his words hit different. Especially when he said they ain't want him locked up. They wanted him isolated, broken, scared to trust. That way, he stops moving. That way, they win. And now? Fans started to realize this was bigger than a girl with a phone and an old grudge. This was psychological warfare. Strategic manipulation. A slow takedown, but Baby wasn't out yet. In fact, he was making moves behind the scenes. Quiet ones. Lawyers, private investigators, contracts being reviewed. One person close to his business team said he was cutting deals to pull out of partnerships, reshuffling his management, and tightening his circle hard. And in the middle of it all, Tone was still missing. No posts. No live sightings. Not even a burner account trail. And that silence. It started to feel like guilt. So when Baby's legal team announced that new evidence had been discovered in his favor, fans immediately assumed it had something to do with Tone. But what they didn't expect was that the new evidence came from someone inside law enforcement. So when Lil Baby's legal team announced there was new evidence that could work in his favor, most folks thought it was just another PR move. The kind of thing lawyers say to calm fans and pressure the system. But what nobody saw coming was who the evidence came from. Not a witness. Not someone from Baby's team. Not even a random civilian. It was a cop, an anonymous officer from inside the department. Leaked a report first to a small indie blog, then to a popular hip-hop news forum. At first, people thought it was fake. But then screenshots matched, and insiders confirmed the file was real. And what was in it? Yeah. It changed everything, according to the report. A confidential informant had been feeding false leads to the department for over 6 months. And guess what name was attached to that informant's initial files? Tone, the same Tone who vanished. The same Tone who let Kayla into the studio. The same Tone who Baby swung on that night before the arrest. This dude wasn't just part of the team. He was actively working with law enforcement behind the scenes. Now, whether he did it willingly, under pressure, or for his own gain, that part's still murky. But what the leaked report made clear is that Tone's tips had sparked multiple investigations, including the one that led to Lil Baby's studio being raided. And get this, It went even deeper. The report also mentioned that Tone had provided intelligence regarding interpersonal conflicts, hidden assets, and movements of the primary subject and his affiliates. That primary subject, Lil Baby. So basically, Tone had been shadow sneaking, playing both sides, feeding them just enough to keep them watching while still trying to stay close to the camp and avoid suspicion. It's the definition of snake behavior. And now, the fans weren't just shocked, they were furious. Hashtags like #ToneExposed and #SnitchSeason started trending. Videos popped up with old clips of Tone around Baby, laughing, eating, riding in the Sprinter van like everything was cool. And knowing what we know now, it all hits different. But here's the twist that nobody predicted. A day after the report leaked, the anonymous officer posted again, this time in a now-deleted Reddit thread. They claimed that Tone wasn't acting alone. According to them, there was a second mole, someone even closer to Lil Baby. Someone who had access to passwords, location data, and private combos. And when the thread dropped a few redacted messages, between this second person and the authorities' ones that referenced the artist's baby mother and arranged, Meets fans lost their minds. Because remember when Kayla randomly said, "Ask him about Ariana"? Well, now, folks started putting the pieces together. Was Ariana the second mole? On the surface, it made no sense. Baby had always kept things cool with her. Even if they weren't together, he made sure she and their kid were straight. But then old messages from 2022 surfaced, alleged texts between Ariana and a close friend where she vented about feeling manipulated, erased, and like he only cares when the cameras are on. So maybe it wasn't about money. Maybe it wasn't about revenge. Maybe it was just pain. Long-buried pain that got weaponized by people who knew exactly what buttons to push. And the scariest part, if she really was involved, she didn't even have to touch anything illegal. She just had to talk. Share a location here, a contact name there, a moment of weakness in a group chat. That's all it would have taken. Back in Baby's camp, things were crumbling. People started distancing themselves. 2 security guards quit. A longtime driver dropped a subliminal on Facebook that said, "He ain't who he used to be, and neither is the team." But Lil Baby, he wasn't staying silent anymore. A week after the leak, he finally made a move. No interview, no live, just a music video. He dropped a surprise song at midnight called Silent Wars. And if you thought this was just bars and flexes, nah, this was a full-blown confession. Not to crimes, but to feelings, betrayal, heartbreak, isolation. In one verse, he raps, "I gave M keys. They made copies for the feds. She laid in my bed, but was texting what I said / homie played both sides. Wore masks in the dark. Now I sleep with my chain on and a cold heart." Fans immediately knew who he was talking about. Tone, Kayla, Ariana, all of them, and the visuals, filled with symbolism. Snakes slithering across studio floors. Phones burning in fire. Shadows watching from tinted windows. The whole internet froze. Within 12 hours, the video hit 10 million views. Every blog posted it. Even celebrities started reacting. Drake liked the post. Meek Mill commented a salute emoji. Boosie went on live screaming, "I told y'all. I told y'all that boy was solid." But even with the music clearing the air emotionally, the legal stuff wasn't over thanks to the leaked report. Baby's legal team filed a motion to suppress evidence, arguing that it was obtained through bad faith manipulation by confidential informants. The judge hasn't ruled yet, but experts say it could be a game changer. If the evidence gets tossed, the whole case might crumble. And Tone? Still nowhere to be found. But now there's a warrant out for his arrest and related to Baby's case. Something about obstruction and falsified reports. As for Kayla, she deactivated all her accounts. Last thing she posted was a tweet that said, "Truth always wins in the end." And Ariana, she issued a short statement through her lawyer. "Any allegations made against my client are untrue, unfounded, and will be handled accordingly." No confirmation, no denial, just smoke. As for Lil Baby, he's still moving silent. No interviews, no tweets. Just studio sessions and short glimpses on his story. Fans say he's focused, healing, planning, and maybe that's what they wanted to stop all along. Because through all the chaos, one thing is clear. This wasn't about getting Lil Baby locked up. It was about getting him off balance, making him paranoid, shaking his empire from the inside. But now, the game done changed. People got exposed. Masks came off, and Baby. He survived, but the question remains, who's still around him right now? And are they real? And that's where the real story might just be beginning. So now you see it. This wasn't just another rapper getting caught up in the system. This wasn't about one mistake or one night gone wrong. This was a full-blown operation planned, played, and planted from the inside out. People Lil Baby fed. People he trusted. People he would have taken to the top. All turned on him when the cameras weren't rolling tone. Exposed as a confidential informant. Kayla, revealed as a planted distraction. Ariana, possibly used to leak sensitive info without even knowing it. And Dre, his silence since that live. That's loud all by itself. And even after all that, Baby still standing, still making moves, still putting pain into music. But you gotta wonder how many more betrayals can one man take before he stops trusting anybody? What happens next? Will Tone get caught? Will Baby press charges of his own? Will more names drop in the upcoming court hearing? And what about that second mole the officer mentioned? Did we even find out who that really was? One thing's for sure. This story ain't over. This story ain't over. But now we want to hear from you. What do you think really happened the night of Lil Baby's arrest? Was it all a setup? Do you think Ariana was involved, or was she just a pawn in the game? And will Baby ever fully recover from this betrayal, mentally, legally, or musically? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now. Don't hold back, we're reading everything, and before you go, make sure you hit that like button if you were locked in this whole time. Subscribe so you never miss the real stories they don't want you to hear, and turn on those notifications, because next time, we diving even deeper. This has been Realer Than Rap. Stay dangerous, stay woke, and stay tuned.